Friday night of ACC Hoops on Tobacco Road continues here in Chapel Hill. The North Carolina Central Eagles out of the MEAC make the short trip to the Dean Dome, where the Tar Heels have climbed to number 18 in the land this week. And welcome everybody, along with Chris Spatola. I'm Doug Sherman, so glad you're with us here tonight as these Tar Heels continue to adjust and adapt without their senior leader, Seth Trimble. He's out with a broken left arm. The timetable has him coming back around the holidays. In the meantime, they are adjusting and having other people step up, Chris.
They are. They got Luka Bogovac into the starting lineup the other night against Radford. And you got to understand, like, he's had a lot going on off of the court. Got here late in the process from a new country, new style of play, and didn't know if he was going to be eligible in the lead up to the opener. He looked his most comfortable in that game against Radford the other night, especially in the second half. Still hasn't shot it well. He was only 3 of 11 from 3 in that game, but caught a little fire in that second half because he started to drive the basketball. Took the ball to the rim, got to the foul line, and then started knocking down threes. And then Gage Lattimore for NC Central, 38 the other night in that win over Bluefield State. He gave 25 to Virginia in that game. He has been a bucket getter, had 9 threes in that game the other night. Got to have a real awareness on him if you're Carolina tonight.
Meanwhile, all of Chapel Hill and much of college basketball is buzzing about the brilliant freshman Caleb Wilson. The start to his career, really unprecedented in the history of Tar Heels basketball. He's as exciting a person off the court as he has been on the court.
Yeah, he really is. He's a terrific personality. The numbers there speak for itself. I mean, he has been better than advertised. But it's the force that he plays with, the energy that I think has had a real galvanizing effect. When your most talented player plays with the energy and the effort that Caleb Wilson plays with, it can have a real effect on everybody around him.
He's averaging 19.7 points, 8.3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, shooting 62% from the floor. No other Tar Heel has ever done that in his first 3 games, regardless of class. Who says 9 o'clock is too late for a basketball game? Let's go. The Tar Heels and the Eagles. NC Central at 1-3, coming off their first win of the season just 2 nights ago. Trying to shock the world and shock Hubert Davis's Tar Heels, who win the opening tip. And here's Kyan Evans, the junior from Kansas City, transfer from Colorado State, at the point. Along the baseline, attacking the rim and being fouled is Caleb Wilson.
North Carolina Central going to play a lot of zone here tonight, trying to keep their center Corey Carvey out of foul trouble, trying to contain this front line of North Carolina. And North Carolina saw a lot of zone in that game against Radford the other night, so got some real good reps against that 2-3 zone. But Caleb Wilson along that baseline, Doug, the combination of he and Vesar, the way that they have played in tandem has been so good. It's been vintage North Carolina. 2 bigs, high-low basketball.
In and out on the second. On the offensive glass, Jaron Stevenson. And they bring it back out. And I get the sense, Chris, in watching the first 3 games of the season, this Carolina team really fits. The parts fit together. And that's what you talk about with the 2 bigs in a classic Carolina way. One of the new pieces we've talked about, number 44, Luka Bogovac, the junior from Montenegro.
5 of 19 from 3 coming into this game, so hasn't shot it as well as I think everybody expected. But he is starting to heat up, and he will not stop shooting.
Carvey on the turnaround, no. Wilson the rebound, and he will dribble up every opportunity he gets.
It'll be hard to go one-on-one against that size of Vesar at 7 feet.
Bogovac has it knocked away. The Eagles have the basketball. And the foul is called against Carolina.
Yeah, that's the one area. Turnovers have been the one real issue for North Carolina, and it's in the vein of, you know, kind of careless. Like Bogovat's there, just trying to dribble it into traffic and then dribbling it off his leg.
And if this were practice yesterday here at the Dean Dome, as Lattimore knocks down his first shot from the floor, for every turnover yesterday in practice, as we saw, Chris, Carolina ran. And that's one of the big points of emphasis for Hubert Davis early in the season. We've got to take care of the basketball. High post Beassar. Stevenson cut off. Back to Beassar. The Arizona transfer misses his first shot. One and done for Carolina. Here comes Deontay Johnson, all-conference point guard for NC Central. And Gage Lattimore is going to be defended differently with the numbers he's been putting up lately.
Well, especially with the guys around him, they've had a hard time scoring outside of Lattimore and Carvey.
There's one of the guys who's been struggling to start the year, Kyric Davis, a senior from Americus, Georgia. Carolina going end-to-end quickly as they do, and we've got a foul. 17:44 to go here in the first half.
You know, two areas where North Carolina has excelled to start this year, Doug, in transition. Their ability to push, and that's the one area with Seth Trimble out. You take that, you know, that other ball handler off the floor. But their ability to change ends, and that guy has been outstanding, changing from one end to the other. They have been really fast in transition, and then their offensive rebounding. They're averaging about 15 offensive rebounds a game. They had 16 offensive rebounds in that win over Kansas. Rebounding about 40% of their misses. That team in 2017 that won the national title rebounded 41%. That led the nation. So they are right there in terms of the rebounding team that Hubert Davis was looking for.
Pressure broken. Good recovery by Beassar to swat it out of bounds.
He's been a difference maker for them. You know, they're protecting their basket, certainly on the glass. He's played with an edge.
Corey Carvey creating space. Sandy lays it in. He's the one true big on this roster for LaVelle Moton.
He is, and that's, you know, that's a little bit of why they're in so much zone so far this year, trying to keep him out of foul trouble. Well, he's a legit 6'9". Played 2 years at the junior college level and was at Morehead State last year and transferred into North Carolina Central this season.
Off of the Beassar turnover, the Eagles give it right back. Carolina gets it with 17:23 remaining in the first. Well, defensively, NC Central has struggled so far this season. Opponents shooting 41% from beyond the three-point line. Evans spots up. Here comes Gage Lattimore. Leads the MEAC in scoring at 24 points per game. Wilson with a head of steam right down the lane. He has it blocked. Evans throws it out. And Caleb Wilson throws it down.
He just hunts that dunker spot. And Evans has gotten so good when he gets to that point in the paint, knowing that Wilson's going to be there and just throwing it up by the rim.
Johnson, pass. Handling the basketball beautifully and finding Carvey for another layup. And you blink and Carolina's got it in the other basket at the other end. Bogovac makes it 10-7.
And that's on a made basket. And LaVelle Moton yesterday in practice, I mean, he could not have stressed it enough. It's not just on misses. Carolina, they are pushing off of made baskets.
Johnson with the basketball, the lone returning starter for NC Central. Spent a couple of years at Maryland Eastern Shore, a MEAC rival of NC Central. Harvey denied, and here come the Tar Heels again with numbers 4-on-2. Offensive foul against Beassar, and that takes us to break after his first personal of the night.
There's a viciousness to Caleb Wilson's dunks. He is bringing the hammer, putting some stank on it. All for the pass from Kyan Evans.
For more than 4 decades, the Smith Center has been home to Tar Heels basketball, and those banners that hang. There are 53 jerseys right now in the rafters. 8 are retired. RJ Davis is going to make it 54. He has qualified to be the next guy up there, and I think they need to find a way for Armando Bacot to get his uniform up there. And the history just oozes out of this building. It's a thrill to come in here every single time, Chris.
It is. Every time I come in here, get goosebumps. It's one of the iconic buildings in our sport. Number of moments that have been had in here. You cannot write the history of college basketball without the Smith Center.
And before it, Carmichael Auditorium, now Carmichael Arena, which is home to the women's basketball program. Every chance I get, I walk through that building again to get the sense that this is where Michael played. This is where Big Smooth played. This is where Worthy played. Very cool to be in this basketball environment. Nearly 5 minutes gone here at the Smith Center with Chris Patola. I'm Doug Sherman. Non-conference game between regional rivals. North Carolina Central from nearby Durham. Here in Chapel Hill taking on the Tar Heels, and here comes Caleb Wilson. Look out below.
I mean, how many breaks has he led here tonight? And North Carolina Central refusing to stop the ball when Caleb Wilson has it in his hands. He has one thing in mind, attacking the paint in the rim.
Shot clock down to 7. Tough shot for Kyrick Davis. Offensive rebound back out to Johnson, the all-conference point guard. Dangerous pass. Dunn gets blocked by Beassar, his second of the night.
Somebody's got to stop the ball. And I mean, that's a heck of a move, but it's also defensively, you just kind of lunge it. I mean, that's not defense. You see that in a bullfighting ring. But that's the thing that has impressed me the most, Doug, about Wilson. When he gets within 3 feet of the basket, he is going to dunk. And he will go through your body to do it.
Well, his game against Kansas was really the coming out party for the country to realize everything you've heard about him is true. 24 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and steals. Only Walter Davis, Mike O'Koren, and Kobe White in the history of Carolina basketball have done that. And that was just his second collegiate basketball game. Traveling violation. Kelechi Okoronkwo with the turnover.
Deontay Johnson's got to take that to the basket. I mean, a one-on-one, he got himself into the paint. Nobody at the basket, just attack and go to finish. Throwing that out to Kelechi. He doesn't know what to do with it out there on the perimeter.
Derek Dixon, the freshman guard from Vienna, Virginia, to Zayden High, the redshirt sophomore big from San Antonio, have checked into the game for Carolina. Here's Wilson on the wing. Jonathan Powell has also come in, number 11 in white. Wilson off the hesitation. 9 points, make it 10 points for Caleb Wilson to start this ball game. Carver. First miss from downtown. Wilson attacks the ball. Wide open, JP. Jonathan Powell for 3. That's the MO for the West Virginia transfer. He can shoot the basketball from deep. 9 unanswered points for the Tar Heels, who take a double-digit lead. the 19-year-old son of Sabrina and Jerry Wilson. Caleb Wilson is off to a flying start tonight.
Literally. I mean, he is, and he shows you the full package. I mean, there's the touch. How good is he showing you the ability to make that shot? He's just really skilled, Doug. And the thing you got to love about him outside of the offensive package he has, like, he plays with a motor, and he's always on the offensive glass. I mean, he's got 9 offensive rebounds in their 3 games to start. He's averaging 8 free throw attempts a game, so he's attacking the basket with force. It's just been really easy to play with. You know, obviously a highly touted freshman, going to be a top 5 pick in the draft, and he's been a great teammate.
Well, I asked him yesterday after practice if he ever thought about attending an HBCU as a kid growing up in Atlanta, as they are playing an HBCU, a historically black university in NC Central. He said, actually, before my basketball trajectory took off, I did think about going to an HBCU. But once it became apparent that he was one of the better basketball players in the country, he changed his direction a bit. But he's a very serious student. He has a plan with his mother that once he leaves Carolina, presumably after this year to go to the NBA, he will start taking classes online and hopes to have his degree by the time he's 30. Lattimore to Johnson. Good closeout by High. Carolina with another rebound. Dixon wide open for 3. Takeo Carpenter dribbles up and hands it off to Johnson. So the last time we saw Deontay Johnson Wednesday night in the win over Division II Bluefield State, he went flying into the basket stanchion at their home arena, and he left the game for a while, came back in, seems to be no worse for wear, makes a great pass there. Carby gets it back out to Lattimore. 2 to shoot, gonna have to fire. And LaVelle Moton joked with us yesterday saying, you know, if the layup had gone in, Johnson would have popped right up, he'd have been fine. There he is fighting for the basketball, gets it away from Caleb Wilson. Central with it. Lattimore lost it on the way up and gives it back to Carolina. 3rd turnover committed by the Eagles, who trailed by 10. Right before tip-off, we had a beautiful moment for Onyx Williams. He's a 4-year-old from Durham who is fighting a rare brain disease. His father reached out to LaVelle Moton. He was on the team bus from Durham to Chapel Hill, and before the game, as you see, he was overwhelmed by love from both Hubert Davis and from LaVelle Moton, and a standing ovation from the folks here at the Dean Dome. There he is with Dad, right behind the Eagles bench, on a night his family will never forget.
They won't. What a gesture by LaVelle Moton and Hubert Davis. LaVelle Moton is an institution in this area. Grew up in Raleigh. He was actually born in Boston, but grew up in Raleigh. Was raised by his mother and his grandmother. Went to Enloe High School in Raleigh, then ultimately to North Carolina Central. So he's coaching at his alma mater. He won 2 championships as a player at Central. He's won 8 championships as a coach there. He's had a lot of offers to go elsewhere, man, and he's just so loyal. He's loyal to that school, to this area. He's so well connected. He's an institution in this area. He's a good man right there, LaVelle Moton.
And you know, when he was a star at Enloe High School in Raleigh, he would come to this building and watch practice because he's cousins with Donald Williams, the former Tar Heels great. And so he'd sit in the stands and watch Dean Smith run practice. Yeah. And he would play pickup with the Carolina players. He told us a story yesterday about being on the same pickup team with Michael Jordan. And he said nobody wants to be on Michael's team in pickup because he's going to get double teamed in a close game and pass it to you and expect you to make the shot. And if you don't make the shot, that's trouble. Well, one time he did get the pass from MJ, made the shot, and the best part of it for LaVelle Moton was MJ immediately screamed, "Attaboy, Vel." He's like, wait a second, you know my name?
Yeah.
It is amazing the stories he has to tell.
It is. Well, he's just a good man, and he's really going through it with you know, the finances and the economics the way they are in college basketball right now. You know, North Carolina Central was the only MEAC school to opt out of the players share. So, you know, he's having to deal with that. But he has stayed true and loyal to North Carolina Central and to this area. And he's really, really well respected.
Two-time MEAC Coach of the Year in his 17 years as head coach. 4 times he's taken his alma mater to the NCAA tournament. Grant Hill came and spoke to his players earlier this season, made a donation to the program. And you mentioned his mom, Hattie McDougal, a little under the weather, couldn't make it to tonight's game, but is watching at home. Hello, Mom. Your son's team is down 19-9. Caleb Wilson fouled on the shot, and he'll head back to the free throw line. Second foul on Corey Carvey, the one player Moton can't afford to have foul trouble on. As the freshman out of Holy Innocents Episcopal School makes the first. This is our Tuesday men's basketball doubleheader. The man at the line, Caleb Wilson, and number 18 North Carolina will host Navy, 7 Eastern. And then Donnie Freeman and Kyan Anthony lead Syracuse against Monmouth. Both are also available on the all-new ESPN app. Ryan Archie into the game. One of the players Lavelle Moton had hopes for coming into the year, could be maybe their number 3 player and contributor on the offensive end. He gives it back outside. Battle for 3.
Those are the kind of shots that, you know, they're going to have to hit here tonight. Carolina's not helping. I mean, they're allowing Archie to just kind of dribble. You know, it's interesting with Seth Trimble out. You know, obviously you lose that other ball handler alongside Kyan Evans. You also lose his rebounding. I mean, he was their leading rebounder in that Kansas win. Had 8 rebounds. He's one of the best rebounding guards in the country. And then obviously his leadership. And you just feel horrible for Seth Trimble. 4-year player going down with an injury like that.
And again, if there's good news, they expect him to get back around the holidays, somewhere around Christmas or New Year's, and that would align with the start of ACC play for Carolina. They open up conference play on the 30th of December. Here's Lattimore, number 11 in black, is averaging against ACC opponents this year 22.5 points per game. Against Virginia and NC State, 20 and 25 points. With his foot on the line, Carvey misses. And here comes Caleb Wilson.
Shows you how much Lavelle Moton needs Carvey in the game. With 2 fouls, he keeps him in the game. You know, you were mentioning Gage Lattimore. It's quite a story. I mean, he only averaged 10 points a game at Division II Seton Hill last year. Now, he did shoot a good percentage. But to come out of the gates, he gave NC State 20, gave UVA 25, and then goes for 38 the other night. I mean, he's filling it up.
That 38 is a program record in the Division I era. NC Central moved up to D1 in 2011. Up above the rim again is Caleb Wilson. 13 points for the sensational freshman. Well, the last time out in the win over Radford on Tuesday, he only had 13 points and 14 rebounds, dealt with some foul trouble. Good answer at the other end by Archie. Coppin State transfer who put up some good numbers last year has yet to find his rhythm for Central this year. Kyan Evans, who has been setting everybody else up, has his first 3 points of the night.
Yeah, that's the other area, Doug. Carolina has not shot it well yet from 3 as a team. But you know that it's in there. You know, Jaron Stevenson, Jonathan Powell haven't shot it well. Luka Bogovac has not shot it well percentage-wise yet, but you know it's coming.
Lattimore Moore left it short. Another good sign for the Tar Heels tonight. They've made 9 baskets, Chris. They have 9 assists. ASR hands it off. Stevenson gives it up to Evans. Bad pass there. It was kicked, and so it looks like the Tar Heels will keep possession when we come back.
The unselfishness, you made the point. The big-to-big passing has been outstanding for North Carolina to start this year. And then Carolina only 29% from 3 as a team. Well, that dude right there can certainly fill it up.
Well, North Carolina Central, I guess, is the other team from Durham. Not that far away. Regional rivals, yes. But they have made the short trip for the first time in 5 years to Chapel Hill to take on the Tar Heels. The last time they met, they kept it close. It was a competitive game. If you live in this area, you understand the basketball on Tobacco Road, and it's different in the MEAC than it is in the ACC, but they care just the same.
They sure do. And there's great tradition at North Carolina Central, basketball tradition. We were talking, LaVelle Moton has his number retired there. Sam Jones. And they're at, Central's at this point in their season where they got to make money. They got to go out and play these bye games. So, I mean, they've played, this will be their 3rd ACC team they've played in 5 games.
Well, he calls it the money tour. We are on the money tour at North Carolina State, at Virginia, at North Carolina. Still to come, trips to Dayton, Penn State, and Kentucky. Foul on the shot. And heading to the free throw line, Jonathan Powell. And this is the nature of being a low major Division I team where you have to raise money to help fund not only the basketball program, but the rest of the athletic department. And so every school negotiates a different number. And the presumption from the big boy is that you'll come, we'll pay you part of our gate, but we're pretty much assured of getting a win. And that's the trade-off. But physically, it can be terribly demanding for LaVelle Moton's players. And he specifically pointed out his one big guy, Corey Carvey, who just potentially takes a beating as the only big guy trying to match up against bigger, taller, faster, stronger players.
Oh, it impacts how you practice. Because you're not able to practice the way you want to, because you have to preserve your guys. Playing against these bigger, stronger athletes you're playing against at this point in the season. And the season just got started.
10 to shoot. Just over 6 minutes to go in the first half. From the right wing, Battle makes his 2nd triple of the night. Give him 8 points. Well, in attending practice here yesterday and then the shoot around this afternoon. Little high-low action this time. It's Wilson who delivers the pass.
They're just putting one of those bigs in the middle of that zone and then just turn, face, and throw it up to the rim.
First 2 points of the night for Henry Veasar, the Arizona transfer. Spent the last 3 years in Tucson, now flourishing. Coach Sean May, the assistant on staff for Hubert Davis, spending a lot of time to help develop that game. Ramondo Battle says, I can go inside as well. He's got 10 points to lead North Carolina Central.
Hopefully this gets Battle going. It's one of those guys that, they were hoping he'd be a little bit better. It's been a slow start to the year.
Stevenson misses. Wilson swats it into the front row.
Well, North Carolina Central's been in a 2-3 zone for much of the night. North Carolina just plopping those bigs right at the foul line and then just turn, face, and lob it up to the rim. That is tremendous size on that front line. 6'10". Veasar is a legit 7 feet. And he's got an edge to him. There's a little bit of an edge that Veasar has shown in the early part of this year.
And he is somebody, as Battle now has 12 points, the former Evansville ace. Veasar is a type of guy who tries to dunk absolutely everything. He's looking to dunk on your head. He said yesterday his most favorite dunk of all time came in the exhibition game when he dunked on one of his opponents. He really has, like you say, an edge about his play on both ends of the floor.
Well, I think, Doug, he was thrust into a starting role last year at Arizona when Mo Krivas got injured at the beginning of the year. I think coming here to North Carolina, I think the added responsibility and the added minutes. He only played about 21 minutes a game last year at Arizona. The added minutes, it's all been good for Henry Veesaar. He's taken on that responsibility. He's been an emotional leader, and he's been incredibly productive to start the year.
Lattimore misses the runner. Wilson grabs another miss. And even in those 21 minutes per game for Arizona last year, he was highly productive. 9.5 points, 5.5 rebounds. All Big 12 Conference honorable mention for a team that went to the Sweet 16. And don't look now, Hubert Davis is not going to be happy about the 9th turnover committed by Carolina, turned into points at the other end by Archie. Up above the rim again, it's another assist by Evans, and give 2 more points to Wilson. 15 and counting for the 6'10" freshman from Atlanta. Lattimore blocked. They have done a good job, Carolina has, holding him in check. Lattimore went for 38 points 2 nights ago. He is stuck on 3 so far tonight. Here is our Week 12 ACC Network Saturday football lineup. At noon Eastern, we'll have a Command Center presentation of number 9 Notre Dame and number 22 Pitt. Then 16th ranked Georgia Tech takes on BC, and finally Virginia Tech and Florida State at 7:30 Eastern. All 3 games are also available on the all-new ESPN app. With Chris Patola, I'm Doug Sherman, back here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And the Eagles of North Carolina Central are hanging around. They've already got a career high off the bench from Armando Battle with 12. What are the Tar Heels not doing that allows NC Central to stay close, Chris?
Well, Battle's hit some shots, some contested shots. There's a little bit of a malaise that has crept in with North Carolina towards the end of this half. You build those types of leads, and just a little bit sluggish here to put Central away. And I think Central's done a nice job, Doug, of taking the air out of the basketball.
But Wilson is putting together a performance of note. 17 points, 8 rebounds so far.
Oh, and it's almost all dunks.
Here's Lattimore. He's a left-hander driving right. Aquaragua off the back iron. It's another rebound for Wilson. That is his 9th, closing in on a double-double in the first half. Good look from the corner. Veesaar throws it down. Timeout, NC Central. A good answer coming out of that last break by North Carolina.
It's been a prototype Carolina break this year. Nice penetration, 2 feet in the paint by Evans. Really good find over the top. Stevenson keeps his discipline in the corner to take that 3, and then you clean up the offensive glass there with Veesaar. That's where, Doug, they're getting that spacing on the break by running those wings to the corners. You've got 3-point shooters that have a gravity to them, and then you've got Veesaar and Wilson crashing the offensive glass. It's been a good formula so far this year.
Roster construction, roster retention are such a big thing in college basketball now. Carolina last February added an alumnus in Jim Tanner, class of 1990, the new executive director and general manager. 3rd turnover by the Eagles gives it back to UNC. Veesaar has it poked away. Another turnover by Carolina.
Sloppy. You're not going to be able to float that. You got to put a little mustard on that and assume that Veesaar is going to be able to catch that. Just too soft to pass.
Aquargo tries to work around Beassar, taps it out. Carolina with the basketball. Powell is fouled by Ryan Archie. Third foul on Ryan Archie, the redshirt sophomore out of Gwynn Park High School, Clinton, Maryland. He will go out.
I think the zone for Central has made Carolina take some time, taking some air out of it in the half court. And on the other end, Central's been willing to take that shot clock down under 10 each possession. And it's just kind of taken some of the, the sense of urgency, taking some of the air out of the building. It's some of the life towards the end of this half out of Carolina a little bit.
But if you're Carolina, you cannot allow that to happen. You have to combat that.
No question. We're now getting into an area, a psychology of the game, Doug, that I think all coaches are dealing with.
Yeah, I've told coaches for decades now I would never trade places with them.
Well, this is one of the ways you can energize your team, is putting on a little full court press after the free throw and a nice execution of that trap.
Powell, Wilson, Evans, Beassar, and back into the game, number 44, Luka Bogovac, who's had a quiet night so far. Just over a minute to go in the half. Evans splits the double team, goes down the lane, and lays it in. A beautiful move for the Colorado State transfer. Well, he really developed at Colorado State under head coach Nico Medved, now at Minnesota, and Ali Farokmanesh, who you remember from his NCAA tournament heroics for Northern Iowa back in 2010. And Kyan Evans really took off in last year's NCAA tournament and found himself as a coveted person in the transfer portal.
I thought during the exhibition, the two exhibition games, I thought he was thinking too much. Understandably so. He's making a lot of money. He's here at North Carolina, which is, no slight to Colorado State. It's not North Carolina. He's playing more instinctively. He's getting better and better. And it is his show now, especially with Seth Trimble out of the lineup.
Beassar seemed to grab a little bit of the jersey and got caught doing it. That is his second personal foul. And so now Kelechi Okoronkwo will head to the free throw line. Senior from the Bronx. He started the season opener for NC Central at North Carolina State. Now coming off the bench for LaBelle Moton. That is his first point. And like so many players in this day and age, he's a two-time transfer. Played his freshman year at Austin Peay. And then his sophomore year at Maryland Eastern Shore. This is his second year in Durham at North Carolina Central. Timeout called by Powell with the shot clock off. 24 seconds remaining in the first half. So now Hubert Davis going to draw something up and try to head into the locker room with a bit of momentum. Now up 15 points. Well, the Tar Heels certainly have responded well in the last couple of minutes. At about the point you pointed out, their malaise, whether it was the full court pressure or something else, they seem to have turned it back on a little bit.
It was out of the last timeout, the one before this, where, you assume Hubert Davis got into him a little bit. Look, these games are tough. I mean, for a team that's far more talented, should win here tonight. I mean, you build an early lead, and it's only natural to relax. But they have certainly, over the last 2.5 minutes, they have put it back on Central.
Bogovac, Evans, Powell, Wilson, and Henry Beassar, the five on the floor for North Carolina. Evans facing the 2-3 zone. Evans attacks. Howell, no, air ball. Besar tries to corral it. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. The heave from midcourt comes after the horn. And they will head to the locker room. The Tar Heels with a 15-point lead.
Thought Central did a nice job getting back too, Doug, keeping Carolina out of transition. We'll see. This first 5 minutes will be interesting to see the energy that North Carolina comes out with.
LeVelle Moton and his Eagles all in for Onyx tonight on a special night in Chapel Hill. But his team from Durham, North Carolina, trailing by 15 at the break. Right now, we'll send it back to the studio with Luke Hancock. Here's Kelsey Riggs-Cuff. After the halftime entertainment of Bhangra Elite, a campus student group here at the University of North Carolina, we are set for the second half. The Tar Heels on top by 15 over NC Central. And welcome back, everybody. With Chris Patola, I'm Doug Sherman. Caleb Wilson delivered as we expected him to. It wasn't perfect for Carolina, but the end result is they're up comfortably at the break.
Yeah, he was exceptional. I mean, at 17 points, 4 dunks of his 6 field goals, just terrific. He was just hunting the basket, you know, in that dunker spot. He was outstanding in transition, especially early in that half. And that high-low game has been really tough to stop all season. That, by the way, didn't go as a dunk, but he's right there at the rim. But your point about North Carolina, got a little sloppy at the end of the half. They had 10 turnovers in that first half. Now, North Carolina Central had a hard time converting, but Central also took them out of transition. So you didn't get some of that easy stuff you saw early in that first half.
I like the sharing of the basketball. 14 made field goals, 12 assists for Carolina. 6 different Tar Heels have assists. But the shooting has not been good from the perimeter for Carolina. Only 3 of 11. And yet they close that half out strong, up with a 10-1 run. And lead by 15 to start half number 2.
Yeah, the shooting's been a puzzle, Doug, to start this year, because they brought in a bunch of guys with the reputation as shooters. Coming into this game, you know, Jaren Stevenson, Jonathan Powell, 6 of 21 from 3. The team 29%, and then in that first half, only 3 of 11. So they haven't gotten going yet from 3 so far this year.
What Carolina has done defensively is keep Gage Lattimore with the basketball in check. Only 3 points. He came in averaging well over 20 and had 38 2 nights ago for the Eagles. We have a foul call on the block shot by Wilson. The baseline official, Les Jones, is not the most popular person in the Dean Dome right now.
Well, there's a travel first, and then, yeah, I like the call, but he had to walk in order to get to the spot.
Caleb Wilson, the co-rookie and co-player of the week in the ACC, sharing both awards with Virginia Tech supernova Neo Abdallah, who put 33 on Providence. We've got a lot of bright freshman stars in the Atlantic Coast Conference right now.
We sure do. How about Michael Brown Jr. in that game against Kentucky?
Cookies for the crowd here at the Dean Dome off of 2 missed free throws by an opponent.
People just love free stuff.
There were hot dogs flying over us in the first half.
They could have been giving away pencils, free pencils. People would have gone bananas.
Sloppy pass. Stevenson able to recover. Davis nearly took it away. Good recovery to find Bogovac for 3. Been a quiet night for the junior from Montenegro. He's got 8. Has Carolina done anything special defensively against Gage Lattimore tonight, Chris?
No, I just think, I mean, you saw the shots, Doug, he was hitting against Bluefield State. Deep, a lot of them contested, and he's a good shooter. He's not that level of player, and so I think he's come back down to earth a little bit. They've had a number of different guys on him, and they have certainly played him farther out than teams have played him so far this year.
And as he mentioned to us yesterday after practice for NC Central, in the game against Bluefield State, it was the first time this season he has stepped out well beyond the 3-point line. And with that, Carolina has, as you said, extended its defense tonight. Nice lefty finish by Corey Carvey.
He's a good player, Carvey. He's really skilled, really good size and length, good feel for the game.
6 points, 3 rebounds. He comes in averaging 16 points and 9.5 per game. The story continues to be number 8 in white, Caleb Wilson. Give him 20.
So much of North Carolina's ceiling this year will be tied to how good Caleb Wilson can be. And you saw it in that Kansas game. When he went out in that first half in that game, they were not the same team.
Another rejection by Carolina. This time the help defender, Jaron Stevenson, leads to a wide open 3. Quickly back the other way. The Eagles get it to Davis, who tries to back his way into the lane. Up and over Bogovac. It's an air ball. Tyon Evans has his pass deflected out of bounds. And again, Hubert Davis is livid on the Carolina sideline at another deflected pass.
I mean, first of all, you shouldn't leave him, obviously. Confusion defensively, but how about, I mean, the dribble, pulls up, sets his feet, and he is showing you the entire kit bag here tonight.
Good ball movement to find Evans stepping into a 3. Bogovac gets the long rebound. Here's Wilson again. They close out a little better, and he gives up the basketball. Veasar high-low. Wilson kicks it out, and the foul on the pass from behind. That'll go against Ramondo Battle the second.
You know, the one thing with Veasar, he's incredibly skilled. He's been very good tonight in that 2-3 zone at the foul line. But he's also been really good so far this year on a short roll, and a lot of it having to do with his size. He can just see over the top, and he's a very good passer who's got great vision because of that length.
Evans down the lane, hangs in the air, and he was hit in the head. And we'll head to the free throw line to shoot 2. Well, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, the ACC Huddle crew will be at Pitt to get you ready for another full day of football with a 2-hour pregame show right here on ACCN and the all-new ESPN app. Foul number 3 on Corey Carvey has Evans at the line. Carolina once again playing without its senior leader, Seth Trimble, who suffered a broken bone in his left forearm. Back on the 9th of November, he's expected to miss roughly 6 weeks, give or take. So that has him coming back around Christmas or New Year's, which, if that is the case, allows him to be ready for the start of ACC play on December 30th against Florida State. But they will be without him against Michigan State, against Kentucky, against Georgetown, and against Ohio State, probably. A lot of big non-conference games. They certainly would love to have him.
Well, you never know, Doug. Like, this is one of those things, guy goes down, you can sometimes find somebody. You know, obviously there's going to be more minutes for other guys. Who steps into that void? Sometimes you can find someone. I am wondering, are we not signing casts anymore? Like, why is his cast just, you know, blank white? We're not sharpening that thing up anymore?
I agree with you, and you strike me as the kind of kid growing up on Long Island. Veasar throws it down. As a kid on Long Island, you went through several casts.
Several casts, and you get them all signed.
Yeah.
You know? Some people write dirty things on them, and you gotta can't go home with that.
I think we should bring that up to Seth. Lattimore pulls the trigger. Over Veasar for 3. Well, he is as confident as they come. Veasar fouled at the other end, and if that is on Carvey, that's his 4th. There's the clean cast. You're right. And I had seen that yesterday and today, and it didn't even occur to me. There needs to be stuff drawn on it.
I mean, it's just a blank slate there. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go. I'm also digging the stylish specs on Trimble.
Indeed, Chris, that was the 4th foul on Carvey as the bespectacled Seth Trimble looks on.
Look at those things. That's a stylish man over there.
I've been impressed by what we've seen the 2 games and then a couple of practices we have attended, that he's still very much involved, very much in a leadership role, in a cheerleader role. And he's able to keep himself in shape because the bone that is broken is in his forearm. It's below the elbow, so he can run and do other things, so that when the cast comes off, whether it's clean or not, he should be able to have a pretty quick recovery after that. Foul inside. Wilson. Passing up good shots for great shots, just can't cash it in. Already on a double-double. Wilson lost it on the way up, and then the foul comes in the lane. Carolina dominating in the paint here tonight against NC Central. Well, Carolina freshman Caleb Wilson is at it again. He's got 20 points and counting on only 8 shot attempts, 7 of 8. He's hit his only 3, 5 for 6 from the line. His 11 rebounds mean that he now has double-doubles on consecutive games. The first freshman to do that for Carolina since Day'Ron Sharpe 5 years ago. And it seems like we could spend the entire 2 hours talking about all of the different people within Carolina basketball history that he has already put himself up along.
He is what every NBA front office is looking for. You know, that guy that you can plug in to any position. And the offensive numbers there obviously pop, but what he does defensively and the versatility that he gives North Carolina, the ability to switch out and guard really any position. He's just got, he's got so many winning intangibles that, a player of that level to come in with, it's incredibly impressive.
Well, if you just read his words on paper, you might not fully gather the type of young man he is. But he says, I'm here to make myself a legend and win a bunch of games. I mean, who says that coming in? But at this point, well, just 4 games in, you got to think, well, he's only going to be here for 1 season almost certainly. But would you count against him putting his name up in the rafters with the other guys? Maybe. Good recovery by Wilson. Nothing but net from the corner for Jonathan Powell, the 3-point specialist from Centerville, Ohio. He's now got 9 points. He and Vesar both have 9 to go along with Wilson's 20. And I know I'm probably getting way ahead of myself in terms of hanging banners in rafters 4 games into a career. But it's really ridiculous, some of the things he's done offensively. And I do find interesting, over 5 minutes gone here in the second, the criteria to get yourself honored up in the rafters. To be honored, you've got to be a first or second team All-American, or ACC Player of the Year, or Final Four Most Outstanding Player, MVP of an NCAA championship team, or win an Olympic gold medal. Could he do one of those things?
He could certainly do a couple of those things.
Now he's fouled on the way to the basket. Lattimore caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
And that's the thing, Doug, like you say, well, he's doing this against North Carolina Central. The fact of the matter is, he did this against BYU in that exhibition game, went toe-to-toe with A.J. Debounce, and then was the best player on the floor for the majority of that game, he and Darren Peterson in that Kansas game. So he has done it against high-level competition.
And he's a really hard worker. We haven't talked about his passing that much, but he's a very good passer. His coach calls him an elite passer. North Carolina Central picked to finish 5th in the MEAC this year. Tough sledding inside once again for Aquaraguara. 13th rebound for Wilson. Carolina gets from one end to the other just as quickly as anybody.
Well, and a lot of it has to do, Doug. You're a lot of times you're as fast as your first big down. Because that big is drawing everybody to the paint and is flattening out the defense. And the one thing that Carolina, when they have been at their best in transition, and you know, I've had the opportunity to scout Carolina, the two things that you were always, it kept you up at night, was how fast they were. And it started with their bigs, and then whoever was, you know, playing point guard for them, and then their ability to offensive rebound. But their bigs, whoever that first big is down, is running right to the front of the rim. And those guards have their head up and they are looking.
And when you say you have scouted them, you're talking about your days on staff at Duke.
Yes.
So you were able to say to Coach K, these are the things we have to do, can't do, must do against Carolina.
Yeah, and he would listen rarely, but
Archie, after having just picked up his 4th foul, knocks down the mid-range.
it was those two things, transition the glass and Tyler Hansbrough, who was, in my time, the player who dominated his scouting report more than anybody.
And he is the 8th and most recent Carolina player to have his jersey retired here in this building. Zayden High now with 5 points off the bench for the Tar Heels. Yeah, it's going to be tougher with players not staying around typically as long. We saw it differently with Armando Bacot and R.J. Davis, who did stay much longer. But the way college basketball is now, we may not have another retired jersey up there for quite some time. But that doesn't mean there's not going to be talent coming through Chapel Hill. And you talked about it, Chris, in the first half. As we take a look and show you some of the requirements to get your jersey retired here at Carolina, you feel like there are elements of this team that are classic Carolina.
Yes. No question. High-low out of the secondary break, big-to-big passing, dominating the offensive glass. The speed and the ability to shoot. I mean, that was the other thing. Like, whether it was Harrison Barnes, you go down the line, and they always had that guy that in transition, much like this version of North Carolina, that was running to that line and ready to fire. And Kyan Evans has done a nice job pushing the tempo, pushing the floor, playing with his head up. It's where you go down the line, whether it was Ty Lawson, Kendall Marshall. I mean, during the years I was over there, I mean, it just, it's like they were playing on ice skates.
Looked like from here, Evans was the last to touch, but the officials confer and say the Tar Heels will keep. Coach Moten's on the other side of the floor. Yeah, that's what I thought I saw too. Play on.
Could have challenged.
Powell gets beaten. The help defender comes over and picks up the foul. The personal against Zayden High is his second. Well, I don't know about you, Chris, but when I see a player who really excites you, like we do out of Caleb Wilson, I try to think, who does he remind me of? And I don't know if you have anyone off the top of your mind who you say Caleb Wilson is similar to.
You sound like you have somebody.
Well, no, I'm going to refer to Roy Williams, who was asked this question, and he says Marvin Williams. And that's not just the basketball component. That's the way Marvin was on campus with other students outside of the basketball facility.
Yeah, I see a lot of similarities. I mean, obviously it's high praise. Marvin Williams, what was he, #2 pick in the draft? I mean, he was terrific. But there are, the versatility, the size, the length, the athleticism.
There's a good look at the freshman guard Derek Dixon's first 3 points. Well, I asked Hubert Davis yesterday the same question. Does Caleb Wilson remind you of any former Tar Heels? And he said, really, no. He's one of one. But then he thought about it and says there are elements of what Harrison Barnes had going on as both a player. and as a student here at Carolina. And that's pretty good praise being compared to those two types of guys, and that will continue for Caleb Wilson. This is Ryan Archie. He's played a bigger role off the bench tonight for the Eagles than he has the last couple of games. Only got into garbage time on Wednesday in the win over Bluefield State. But again, he put up some big numbers at Coppin State on the MEAC all-rookie team a couple of years ago. Went for as many as 26 in a game. Perhaps he could emerge as the #3 scorer this year for LaVelle Moton. There he is trying for the steal, knocks it out of bounds. And that takes us to our next media timeout. The Tar Heels up comfortably over the Eagles here at the Dean Dome. Shooting in the second half for Carolina has picked up considerably, Chris.
It has. They 3 of 11 in the first half, 4 of 7 in the second, and all 4 of these threes from 4 different guys. So it shows you the number of different shooters that they can put out there at one time. Came into this game, have not gotten it going yet. But this is one of those games, obviously a huge differential in opponent, but this is one of those games you hope maybe you come out of this getting into a little bit of a rhythm shooting the basketball.
How big a part of Carolina's offense does its three-point shooting need to be?
Well, I think it's designed. The spacing is designed with those shooters in mind, and obviously if teams have to guard those perimeter shooters, it's going to help your spacing, driving the basketball, etc.
Another good look from the corner. Powell missed it. Dixon turned down the contested 3, drives and finds the open man on the right wing. Good decision there as Jaron Stevenson sticks it for his first 3 of the night.
They really got to get him going. He can go really quiet. He is one of those guys. He can be really loud or really quiet.
Well, he missed practice on Wednesday because of a rolled ankle on Tuesday against Radford. Practice normally yesterday. And he did come back into the Radford game and finish with 15 points. So you got the indication he was going to be okay. Coach Davis says he's just fine. Powell driving dish. High. Tries the reverse but missed it. Here comes Archie. Stevenson was just sizing him up. Now he gets it back. End-to-end, a rim run after a block shot. 5 quick points for Jaron Stevenson.
I think if you're Hubert Davis, what you're looking at, you're looking to get from Stevenson, you're looking to get from Powell for them to be the same guy every game. Consistency.
Jaron Stevenson was a top 50 recruit a couple of years ago out of Seaforth High School in Pittsboro, North Carolina. Spent his first couple of years at Alabama playing as a part-time starter for Nate Oates. Now he is home in his hometown of Chapel Hill and showing signs here in the second half that it's a good move for him.
He is showing a little bit of life. He and Jonathan Powell have the reputation as shooters. And when you see yourself strictly as a shooter, if it's not going in, the question becomes, how do you impact the game in other ways? And I think with both those guys, they haven't shot it as well at the start of this year, and it's taken a little bit of their juice, a little bit of that confidence.
Beassar takes the bump and will head to the line. Faraglow with the personal foul. This is our Tuesday men's basketball doubleheader. Caleb Wilson and these 18th ranked Tar Heels will host Navy at 7 Eastern, then Donnie Freeman, Kyan Anthony, and Syracuse take on Monmouth. Both are also available on the all-new ESPN app. As Beassar shoots 2. From the most recent mock draft put out by ESPN, Beassar was projected as a mid-second round pick. He could be here longer than that. And you see guys come back to college now with all the money that's being made in NIL. If you're a second round projected pick, oftentimes you come back and make more at school. But either way, he has continued to emerge as an NBA prospect. Foul off the ball. 16 foul on the Eagles. The next will put Carolina in the bonus. Third foul on Jonathan Dunn. Bogovac returns, and Stevenson takes a seat. The hometown boy, his mom Nicole Walker Stevenson played on 3 ACC tournament champs for Carolina. And legendary head coach Sylvia Hatchell. Her son takes a seat. Tell you what, the turnovers so far have cleaned up dramatically after Carolina coughed it up 10 times in the first half. And you know I will jinx them here. None so far in the second half, Chris. Corner three, Dixon. And the follow slam by Veasar.
Nice push by Evans to start that. Nice run to the corner by Dixon, and then there's that big Veasar cleaning up that offensive glass once again.
Well, in terms of rim running bigs, Veasar and Wilson check every box. Yeah. They get out and go.
Well, they do, because they know they're either going to get it from the guard or they assume a miss and are able to clean it up. That's amazing. Before he got here to North Carolina, Veasar had not had a game with more than 8 rebounds. 7 feet tall, you know, had played 2 years, had not had a game with more than 8 rebounds. And he added minutes, and you know, he's a more mature player. That has not been a question mark here so far.
Well, he's got 12 points, 11 rebounds so far tonight. Bogovac and 1.
You love seeing him put it on the floor. He's a strong driver and has shown the ability to finish. That's another guy who's just, I think he's going to continue to get better, you know, as he gets his feet under him a little bit more. We mentioned it in the open. I mean, he got here late in the process. He's coming from a new country. He was talking about how the game is different here. You know, he's used to a lot more structure when he was playing for SC Derby back in Montenegro. More sets. He's got a lot more freedom in this Hubert Davis offense. So you're adjusting to that. And then, of course, you know, didn't know if he was going to be eligible. Found out right before that opener. So a lot of stuff off the court that, you know, I think for Bogovac has been hard to adjust to. But as you can tell, he's starting to get more comfortable.
And he's now got 11 points, Chris, and this is second start in place of the injured Seth Trimble. Back to a pass. I think the recipient, Deontay Johnson, saw the help defender coming and took his eye off the ball, lost it out of bounds, so Carolina takes it back. How about the combined effort of Wilson and Veasar? 33 total points on 11 of 13 shooting and 24 combined rebounds. Here is Veasar. Evans leaves his feet, finds Dixon spotting up in the corner for 3.
The willingness to share it. You know, we've made the point. The number of assists, I mean, they come in averaging 18 a game, and tonight has been no different.
Carolina has 25 made field goals so far tonight. 18 have been assisted. Wilson was just waiting to block that shot. His 4th rejection of the night, Chris.
A little stank on this one. He had to kind of hang there for a second, too.
'18th-ranked Carolina cruising over NC Central here at the Dean Dome. The Tar Heels, one of 3 teams in the conference, ranked nationally in this week's AP poll. Duke, number 4, won earlier tonight blowing out Indiana State here on ACC Network 100-62. Cam Boozer, 35 points, 12 rebounds. And I'll tell you what, Chris, ACC teams so far this season have a combined record of 50-6 and are beating their opponents by an average of better than 23 points per night. And there's been an emphasis around the conference, both stated and unstated, amongst coaches and players that we need to win by larger margins in games like this. The net is something that they feel like other conferences have manipulated by doing that. And the ACC has made a concerted effort to say we have to outscore our lesser opponents. When you have them down, keep them down. And that is certainly what Carolina's doing tonight. After at Cameron earlier tonight, Duke did to Indiana State. What's your impression so far, just a matter of really days into the season, about what we are going to see this year in the ACC?
Yeah, I think the league is better than it was last year. Now the bar wasn't that high to climb over, but I think the league is better. I mean, we saw those 3 teams in the top 25. I think NC State's going to have their shot to get up there. Wake Forest, with some of the new additions. Nate Calmese played really well in that game against Michigan the other night. I think they have a chance to be better, perhaps, than people thought. Virginia Tech. So there's a lot to be optimistic about with the league this year, Doug.
And I'll throw Florida State and Syracuse in there as well as teams that should be better this year. And so the middle of the ACC should be able to support those top teams and make it for a much deeper league than we've seen the last couple of years. Dixon with another 3. He's got 9 points off the bench for UNC.
You were making the point about having to win by, a bigger margin. For this league, it starts with winning games, though, in the non-conference. I mean, probably doesn't need to be said, but the fact of the matter is this league has not performed well in the non-conference. I think the SEC-ACC challenge, like it did last year, will give us a good barometer of where this league is at versus the competition. This league has not performed well in the non-conference, fact of the matter. And the best way to go about improving your stake for NCAA tournament selection is by winning games this time of year. And then, look, if you're winning, then we could talk about the margin.
Well, in the upcoming ACC-SEC Challenge, Carolina will play at Kentucky Tuesday, December 2nd, 9:30 on ESPN. And last year's conference challenge was an utter disaster for the ACC, and another area where it can only go up. Luka Bogovac, listed at 6'6", 215 pounds. Couple of free throws, give him 13 points on the night. And now he gets a nice round of applause as Isaiah Dennis, a freshman from Charlotte, comes in for the first time tonight. Also out there, James Brown, sophomore forward from Aurora, who gave a couple of good minutes against Radford on Tuesday. Zayden High is back out there. We also have Jaden Young, the former Virginia Tech Hokie, out there playing guard. Lattimore for 3. Now, he may wind up getting another good scoring night against an ACC opponent, but it is all going to come late. He's up to 12 points. High a little strong. There's Lattimore. He is not shy.
He's not.
Very confident. It's funny, Lavelle Moten said of his star guard, hey, he reminds me of me. And Lavelle was a great player, 1,600 points. He has a banner of himself up at the home arena at North Carolina Central. And actually, his former head coach at NC Central, Greg Jackson, agrees with Lavelle Moten, saying, yeah, this Lattimore kid reminds me of you. This is Jay Slack, a redshirt senior from Fort Worth, at the free throw line.
It's a statement about where things are at. Lattimore starts the year the way he has, and the immediate concern is who is trying to reach out to him in his DMs from other schools. I mean, the MEAC, and Lavelle was telling us this yesterday, the MEAC gets ransacked, as a lot of mid to lower major conferences do in this era of the portal. The MEAC just gets ransacked.
Well, as Moten told us yesterday, as a Quaraguo blocks the shot, here's Carpenter. He said, I've got an all-star team. Problem is, none of them are still with me. And he listed 5 really good players who have transferred elsewhere for money. And again, North Carolina Central is the only team in the MEAC that did not opt in to pay its players. They just don't have that kind of funding at that institution to be able to do that. But it leaves you at an even further disadvantage than you already were at. And so Gage Lattimore, with a quick start to his season, likely will have other opportunities if he so chooses. Here's Sunday afternoon's ACC Network women's basketball doubleheader. At 3 Eastern, Georgia Tech hosts Jacksonville, and then Florida State will host Indiana in Tallahassee. Both are also available on the all-new ESPN app. Zayden High gets a pair at the line. He's now got 7 points. Ryan Archie with the basketball, being defended some 40 feet from the basket. Goes by Dixon, loses it, gets it back to Carpenter. 83-48. High-low. Brown tries to corral it. And he was fouled, surrounded by 3 Eagles.
Nice little pass over the top there by Zayden High. That's the other area, Doug, the one position that I think Hubert Davis is looking for, that backup big. In a tight game, if Vesar gets into foul trouble or you got to get him a quick blow, who can you trust to come in and play behind Vesar? And I think it's certainly between Zayden High and James Brown.
Well, both were top 100 recruits who up until now have played limited roles. 1 out of 2 from the line for Brown, who at 6'10", 240 pounds. I'd love to continue to see a bigger role this year. Contested 3, nicely done by Young, who's out ahead. The deflected pass, though, slows down the break. It goes out of bounds. Carolina will keep and have it when we come back. 3:52 remaining in regulation. It's all Tar Heels tonight here inside the Dean Dome. 5 years ago, after Roy Williams retired, Hubert Davis was promoted to be the head coach at North Carolina, his alma mater, a dream job. He was the National Coach of the Year in his rookie season, and it has been up and down since, trying to get that roller coaster to go back up. The 55-year-old native of Burke, Virginia, who as a child regularly made the trip to Carmichael Auditorium to see his uncle Walter. He never wanted to do anything but play for the Tar Heels. Both of his parents played or attended an HBCU. I asked him today, did he ever consider going to an HBCU? And he had a big smile on his face like, no, here, this is all I wanted to do. He wanted to be a Tar Heel, and he has been a Tar Heel for decades. One of the all-time great players in the late 80s and early 90s, long NBA career. He feels like that roller coaster has a really good chance of going back up, and this could be a special season if all goes according to plan. And again, to me, it feels like, Chris, the pieces fit, and they've laid the groundwork for what could be a really, really good season here in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, I would echo that. I mean, I give Hubert a lot of credit. He had a plan this offseason. They wanted to get better defensively on the glass and shooting the basketball. They identified those players they wanted to go out and do that, and they got them. And then they added a blue chip talent in Caleb Wilson on top of that. So they did what they needed to do, and I give them a lot of credit because they are ahead, I think, offensively of where a lot of people expected. Their ball movement, it's an unselfish team, the high-low game. There's a lot to like, and again, this team hasn't even scratched the surface, I think, on how good they can become shooting the basketball.
And again, the two things Hubert Davis said that they are working on most critically here in this early point of the season. When the ball's in the air, go get it. And don't turn the basketball over. Those are the two things most front of mind for him. They had trouble holding onto the basketball in the first half. Tonight have been much better in the second half. 0 turnovers here in the second half. Zayden High putting up some good numbers here in the second half. He's got 11 points. But one thing that is different around here is that there is no longer a JV basketball team for the University of North Carolina. It's been an institution that has meant so many things to Hubert Davis, and before him Roy Williams, before him Dean Smith. Marcus Page, former Tar Heels great, had been the most recent head coach of the JV team. It's an opportunity for people around campus, young men around campus, to play for the Tar Heels. Dennis from the corner, his first 3 points of the night. But because of the changes in the NCAA, the JV team is no longer. And Hubert Davis said, yeah, it stinks. He wishes they still had it. The big roar is because the bench has been emptied. At the next stoppage, we will have 4 fresh Tar Heels coming into the game for the first time. There they are. Number 40, Ivan Matlakovich. Number 6, Elijah Davis, the coach's son. Number 32, Evan Smith. And number 25, John Holbrook, get an opportunity. And a nice round of applause for the second stringers, who head to the bench for the final 2:16. All right, you were a big-time scorer at West Point. If you were on the floor at the end of a blowout and one of the guys from the end of the bench was on the floor, did you encourage him to shoot? Did you make sure you passed him the basketball?
Yes.
Good.
Absolutely.
It's the right answer. You got to do it. Well, at this point, if I'm any one of those 4 guys who just came in, anywhere inside half court, I'm shooting.
I think that's the way to look at it.
You got to do it. Takeo Carpenter can't get the roll. And the rebound for Elijah Davis.
I will say, too, having played at Army, and we played a lot of bye games, and I've been on the other side of a lot of these as well. I know what these Central kids are going through.
A round of applause for the effort put forth by John Holbrook.
It's an amazing lifetime memory to play in a building like this. But it stings. I mean, nobody wants to lose like this.
And as we talked about early, for schools in the MEAC, this is the norm. They have to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars through these bye games to help support the entire athletic department. And it comes at a cost. But like you said, on the other side of it, you can say, hey, I played at the Greenbelt.
No question.
I played the Tar Heels.
No question.
And on the flip side, John Holbrook can say, I scored a point in a big win over NC Central.
He could phrase it, that team in Durham.
That other
Nobody
team
will know.
in Durham. Little runner. Justin Edwards couldn't connect. A young man who came from California as a walk-on earned a spot on this roster and is serving as the backup to the point guard Deontay Johnson this year. Off the window for 2, Evan Smith, a product of the North Carolina junior varsity program.
You've tied it all together.
Stoppage in play to get some more subs in for NC Central. Caleb Ellison gets an opportunity to play the final minute, number 0 in black. Also out there, Benga Olubi, number 9 in black. Cameron Daniels is number 4. For 3, no. Slap has it ripped away by Evan Smith. And the junior from Charlotte gets a nice round of applause for his effort. I'll tell you what, a shoot around today, Chris, we saw the camaraderie on this UNC roster stands out. They clearly are connected and very much like each other.
Yeah. They
cheer on each other for every single play, every single shot, every single made shot. And if there's a missed shot, there's a teammate or 2 or 3 ready to pick you up.
Yeah. You know, it's always interesting with cultures, with locker rooms, Doug. It always starts at the top with the best players. And you know, we were saying about Caleb Wilson earlier, always with a smile. You were talking about his personality, his impact on campus, and then how hard he plays. And then Seth Trimble, the leader he is, and Vesar, like it starts with those guys at the top, and I think it has carried down throughout this roster.
And everything other than the injury to Trimble has been great. We're only 4 games into the year. They're going to be 4-0. They will face adversity at some point. But they do seem to be in a very good position right now. Jay Slack at the free throw line once again.
In a little bit of a fouling contest here in a 46-point game.
Let's not turn it into
45.
Tuesday's Radford game. Tar Heel shot 49 free throws.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Four points for Slack. Now, which of the deep bench reserves is going to get up a shot here? The fans are shouting for their own personal favorite. Elijah Davis, no. How about that? 97-51 after the putback by Isaiah Dennis. And the same goes here for the Eagles. Get a shot up. 6 seconds, 5 seconds. Edwards trying to get his own, and he is fouled. Well, from here, Carolina will play Tuesday as Navy comes to town for a 7 o'clock tip-off on the ACC network. I don't know if you have any comments about the Naval Academy's basketball team.
Well, I was hoping yeah, it's good to see North Carolina playing the softest of the service academies.
I don't know if Hubert would say that right now.
No, I'm certain he wouldn't. He's a much classier guy than I am.
97-53. Another virtuoso performance by the freshman Caleb Wilson. 21 points, 13 rebounds.
He was exceptional. And, you know, we said it earlier. They're going to go as he goes. And he was fantastic tonight, again.
But he was not alone. Henry Vesar, 12 points, 11 rebounds. Luka Bogovac finished with 13 points. 97-53 our final score. The Heels improved to 4-0. That'll do it from Chapel Hill. We send it now back to the studio with Luke. Here is Kelsey.